I have found this Parisian tale and have set it in Georgian verse. Until now, like a peerless pearl, it was rolled on the palm of the hand. I have done this praiseworthy and disputable deed for her. Therefore, let her who has robbed me of heart and reason judge it. That was the words of the great Georgian poet, Shota Rustaveli. According to the legends, Shota Rustaveli was born around 60 to 70s of the 12th century in the settlement of Rustaveli, southern Georgia, almost on the border between the Christian and Muslim worlds. From early childhood, the boy heard both Georgian and Arabic languages, listened to Georgian, Persian, and Iranian tales, songs, and poems. Shota came from a noble family. He received a decent education in his homeland, in the academies of Ikalto or Gelati, and was sent to Greece to continue his studies. On return to his country, he joined as the state treasurer at the court of Queen Tamara. The queen was always surrounded by a crowd of admirers at court. Shota could not stay indifferent to the charm, beauty, and intelligence of the queen. He composed poems, odes, and hymns to Tamara. He devoted a wonderful poem to her, The Knight in the Panther's Skin, which is like an oriental tale and a Western chivalrous novel at the same time. But for the reigning beauty, he remained only one of the many admirers. According to the legend, Shota took monastic vows once he understood that the queen would not return the love which he had for her. He set out to Jerusalem to help restore an ancient Georgian monastery destroyed during the Third Crusade. There in Palestine, Rustaveli died, and the monastery of the Holy Cross became the place of his burial. The poem The Knight in the Panther's Skin is the only work of Rustaveli which reached us. Everything we know about the poet of the 12th and 13th centuries, Shota Rustaveli, is based on legends only. As for historical evidence, direct or indirect, they have not been preserved. Moreover, no one and nowhere till the 17th century had ever mentioned either the name of Shota Rustaveli or the poem The Knight in the Panther's Skin. The shortage of facts gives birth to hypotheses. Here is one of them. According to the researchers, the poem describes metaphorically real events of the 12th and 13th centuries. The feuds, dynasty marriages, and the biography of Queen Tamara. All this is described in such detail that could be known only by people very close to the queen. If the poet was one of them, why does not a single of his contemporaries mention either his name or the poem? There is an assumption that the author of The Knight in the Panther's Skin was not Shota Rustaveli, but an entirely different person, a commander, a politician, a poet with excellent education, and Queen Tamara's beloved that was her husband David Soslani, an Ossetian prince. Then why was it mentioned in the prologue that it had been written by a poet, Mesk by nationality, Rustaveli by name? David might have only been the author of the plot, and his contemporary, the talented poet Rustaveli, set the plot in the musical verses which by word of mouth passed on from one generation to another for centuries. I was told to compose in her honor stately and sweet-sounding verses, to laud her eyebrows and lashes, her hair, her lips, and her teeth. It was the meter of the verse popular in the 18th century that allowed some researchers to assume at first sight the incredible. Shota Rustaveli is only a pseudonym. The man who had written the great poem lived not in the 13th century, but 5 centuries later. It is known that The Knight in the Panther's Skin was revealed to the world by the Georgian king Vakhtang VI, who lived exactly in the 18th century. Using the ancient manuscripts, he restored the text of the poem created by Rustaveli, and in 1712 he had it published with his own commentary. At the same time, a special commission, on the initiative of Vakhtang VI, recreated the history of Georgia. While doing this, the commission corrected some church writings and the evidence of chroniclers which it considered distorted and not complying with reality. That is why some literary critics assumed that the author of The Knight in the Panther's Skin was King Vakhtang himself. Being a patriot of Georgia, a scholar and a poet, he himself could have written the poem glorifying Georgia, making references to ancient manuscripts fabricated on his order. If this is true, then why did King Vakhtang sign the poem with the fictitious name of Shota Rustaveli, but not his own? So who is Shota Rustaveli? A real man or a myth? Is The Knight in the Panther's Skin an ancient poem or a genius historical and literary mystification? Maybe one day, scholars will find an answer to these questions. Though it is not that important for enraptured readers, the wonderful legend about Knight Teriel, who is in love, and at the same time the fascinating legend about the author of the poem, Shota Rustaveli, have been living side by side for many centuries and will always remain in the treasury of the world culture.